Hey y'all, welcome to week 5. 4B never happened. I don't know if you noticed, but I don't know. I think the emotions of last week being at Tybee and just being with friends and all the things, could never quite get myself in the place to sit down and really talk and continue to tell the story. And I think part of it too is I want to show you something today, and I'll get there in just a minute. But I'm home. It's Monday morning. I'm exhausted. I'm not gonna lie. I think going to Boy Scout camp and then traveling and coming home, I've kind of been on the grind, and I think that when you embark on an emotional awakening, there's like a certain amount of like excitement to it, right? Like you're like, yes, I am going to come out of this a better person. I'm going to come out of it. I don't know. I'm going to come out of it. And I have the personality where I dive into that, and I have been diving into it. And it's catching up to me. My mom used to say to me all the time when I was younger that I'm burning my candle at both ends. And I think I have been doing that, but I was thinking about it this morning while I was taking my dog around the block, and I feel like I'm entering a certain amount of calm, right? Like a new routine, a new normalcy, and it's I need to prioritize rest this week, which is hard for me when my to-do list is 50 million miles long. The new couch came. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. I got wallpaper hung up, peel and stick wallpaper on Saturday. Todd and I are still together. We actually do home projects really well together, and the wallpaper was no different. But it's done. It looks great. My house is really coming together in this new era for us, which is like it's a good feeling. But I have a production crew coming to my house in July to film an upcoming Where Are They Now segment for this nonprofit that I do a lot of work with called Folds of Honor, and that's like in the back of my head, and that need for perfection. It's just something I struggle with, right? So here I am Monday morning, kind of tired, worn out. I did put some makeup on. Sorry. Just being honest. I don't know. When you sit down, you bare your soul, you have to be comfortable. And today, it needed a little bit of makeup. So anyways, I'm rambling. It's what I do. Thanks for tuning in. But I've been thinking about this segment that I want to talk about in today's podcast in regards to like my story, in particular with Jeremy. And I wrapped up with our story, talking about him leaving for the military. And sometimes I think of pieces that made Jeremy and I's relationship so successful. And I actually think him leaving for the military is a part of that. I think that, I've done a lot of work with my therapist, particularly on like attachment styles and things of that sort. And they say by the time you're 20, most of the time your attachment styles are formed, right? Well, Jeremy and I started dating right at the end of that, which is interesting when we kind of dive into it, because I think I had a lot of tendencies towards like an anxious attachment style. However, the fact that Jeremy was gone and doing something where I knew he did not have the capacity to, reach out a ton or call a ton, or like, he was in basic training. It gave me the space to stop stressing about my partner and really focus on me and who I wanted to be. And it's fascinating to me because actually when I think about that time of him leaving, that like he left in like middle of October of 2004, and I didn't see him again until Christmas time, that like I actually remember very little. It's funny, I remember a Friday night where I stayed in my dorm room. The dorm was like empty, and it was a Friday night, and I had an assignment that I had to do, I think for a pre-nursing class about digestion, and I had to literally write an entire essay describing the course that food goes through in your system. It's a random memory, but it's like Friday night, and that's what I did. I still remember that whole essay really well, which is like kind of odd. I don't know. And then I binge watched Sex and the City. My roommate had the box set of Sex and the City, and so I binge watched that. Binge watching shows tends to be like my comfort thing sometimes. And this is kids. This is the day when I wasn't streaming anything. I literally was a box set of all the DVDs, and I binge watched Sex and the City, and I just got to like focus on me. I wasn't around my family. I mean, I was, because I didn't go to college super far away, but it was a time about me while still really loving Jeremy. I don't know. It's hard to explain. But what I wanted to show you that I didn't have with me in Tybee, I had taken with me one letter. It's a letter that I pulled out a number of years ago, but this is my box of letters. And they have all the letters that both Jeremy and I wrote to each other during this time in our life. It's just a couple months worth, but it's like, it's just funny because there's so much here. So much history. And I often think that if my house caught on fire and people are like, what is the one thing you would grab? I would grab my dog, and then I would grab this box of letters. It's completely irreplaceable. Just about everything else in my house can be replaced or printed again. Anyway, so when Jeremy left for the military, this was the only way we could communicate, was via letters. He would occasionally get a phone call, like from a payphone, like a legit payphone. Well, I guess that's how I imagine it. I don't know. Where he could call home. He didn't even have his cell phone. He didn't have a cell phone with him. So it was a payphone. He would call me, and that was how we occasionally got to chat. So what I remember is Jeremy would write to me. He had this stationery, U.S. Army stationery, that he wrote to me all of his letters. And I remember I got this stationery, like the day he left for the military. I went to Barnes & Noble and like found this stationery. And he said at one point, oh, this makes sense. These are multiple letters in one envelope because it took him a while before he could write to me and I could have a mailing address. That makes sense. I was looking at this because at some point I put all the letters in chronological order from their postmarked date. And the first one from me is 9 November. So anyways, but that makes sense. So, but Jeremy loved this stationery. He said that he could spot this stationery in like a stack of letters a mile away and know that he was getting mail for me. And man, I wrote him just about every day. And even like handwriting, like watching the way my handwriting had changed and adjusted, and his sweet, messy handwriting. And there were multiple times where he would send letters and they're all like 3 or 4 would be postmarked the same day. Sometimes they would hold on to his mail. And so even part of that, like trusting that he was thinking about me or like working towards something. I think it really helped me become a more secure person. Like, and his letters were so sweet. His letters were raw and authentic. And I'm actually going to read you one of my favorites. And the postmark date is 19 November, so that's when it got mailed. But he dated it November 12th, 2004 at 2100. It's funny, he would often write the time just so I knew the time of the day. He says, Colleen, hey honey, I was thinking about you all day today. Sometimes that just happens. I can't get you out of my head and I don't want to. I think part of it is because your formal is tonight. I had my sorority formal, which was like marked kind of like the 1-year anniversary to when we started dating. If you remember, like that's how we got together. Is I went with him to his ROTC function. He came with me to my sorority formal. So the formal was tonight, and he says, I want to be with you so bad. I'm sorry I can't be there. Even though I'm not there physically, I know I will be with you in your heart as you are in mine. I mean, it is. crazy to me how the emotions of missing him can just hit me always like a freight train. It took me a long time to understand that I can be a really happy person and still have this sadness, like, and curiosity about what life would have been like with him, or just even just missing that tenderness of like these couple of kids writing letters back together. Anyway, sorry. Whew, I'll make it through. I'm sorry I can't be there. Even though I'm not there physically, I know I will be with you in your heart as you are in mine. I really hope you have fun though. I hope Adam takes good care of you, as I know he will. God bless Adam. He was such a staple in our lives during these few years. Like, I'm so thankful for that friendship. I just wrote him a letter telling him that if anything happens to you, that I was coming after him. I was just kidding, of course, but I like to give Adam a hard time. I know our anniversary is coming up as well. This letter should get to you around that time. I just want you to know that I love you, Colleen. Even though we won't be together for our anniversary, we will always know in our hearts how great the past year has been. It has been the greatest 12 months of my life, and I owe it all to you. You taught me what it was to be a mom. No. No. You taught me what it was to be a man, and you have given me so much and the greatest gift of love. So as the 15th rolls around, don't get sad and depressed because I won't be there, but try to be happy that we share something that most people dream about. I love you. I'm so excited to go home on the 17th of December. We only have about one more month. I'm sure it will go by fast. I can't wait to run into your arms when I see you. I keep picturing it in my mind, and it almost puts tears in my eyes thinking about how happy I'm going to be. Even though it's hard sometimes, I know that we can make it through anything. And I mean that. I will never leave you. That is what carries me through right now, knowing that I have you forever, and no matter where I am, you still love me. So all in all, thank you. Thank you for being my biggest inspiration, my biggest supporter, my best friend, and goofball I can joke around with. Thank you, Colleen. I will love you forever until the day I die. Jeremy. XOXO. His letters were so sweet, like constantly reminding me how thankful he was for me and how much he loved me. This one, I think particularly means a ton to me because I have lived so much life without Jeremy, because so much of what he says is true, right? Like, I still carry him in my heart. I know that he still loves me. I have this really strong feeling that Jeremy is, I picture the scene when I get to heaven, that Jeremy will be there waiting for me. And I picture him at the end of a dock, fishing. Jeremy loved to fish. And it's like a wooded area. It's like, it's almost like I did a Boundary Waters trip a couple summers ago, and it's like something in Boundary Waters, but there's a dock. And he turns around as he casts a reel, and he sees me, and he smiles so big, and he says, I've been waiting for you. Come sit down and tell me all the things. And so I like picture this. It's so clear in my head, this whole thing I have of him still loving me and watching over Everett and loving Everett. And I don't know. Anyways, so I just think about it. And when I miss him a lot, I turn to those words from him because, I do still carry our love story in big ways. So anyways, Jeremy and I wrote tons of letters, and he got to come home for Christmas, or Exodus is what they called it. And God bless his parents. His parents let me go pick him up from the airport. I was so excited. I think I took my last final early so that by the time he got home, I could just go pick him up. And I picked him up from the airport, and he had to travel in his Class A's uniform, and he had his shaved head. And I went and picked him up. And what I remember is, I think we swung by his parents' house so he could change, see his parents. They were super excited. And then we went and we grabbed lunch at a Mexican restaurant. And Jeremy ordered this giant plate of food. And he was super thin, like basic training, infantry basic training. Like he had dropped a ton of weight while he was gone. And we sit down And he literally like encompasses his plate and just mixes it all together and then shovels his food into his mouth. And I'm sitting across the table watching him do this, and I'm like, and literally he gets done eating the entire plate, and I've had like 3 or 4 bites of and he's like, he looks up and like just pure like embarrassment and recognition of the moment like crosses his face, and I just bust out laughing. And I was like, so you've learned a lot while you've been gone. And then I heard all about the food and the rationing and all the things. And as I survived Boy Scout camp a few weeks ago, where the food leaves a lot to be desired, there's this piece of me where I know that I still don't really understand that hunger and the challenge of what Jeremy went through with just all of his training, right? So anyways, and we had like an awesome 2 weeks. We were pretty inseparable. He left for the military, and he didn't have much left of basic training when he went back. And actually he went straight from basic training into advanced infantry training. If there was a ceremony in between, his parents and I did not go down. We went down for AIT graduation, and it was just great. This was the thing that I learned about Jeremy and I during this period. I would always get fearful when he would leave, that we would lose our connection or that we wouldn't be able to pick up where we left off. And that just was never the case. Once he got done with AIT, his ability to call home was much better. I believe he got his cell phone after he graduated AIT. And so he was able to call. He didn't have it with him, but he was able to call. And so the letter writing got less. It was less and less. So that part got better. And again, it's like a little fuzzy, but his next step after advanced infantry training was airborne school. And I flew down by myself for his airborne. Unfortunately, I couldn't actually see his graduation because of my own schooling. And so I flew down that Friday night into Atlanta, from Kansas City to Atlanta. And he was in Columbus, Georgia, where at Fort Benning. And I wasn't old enough to rent a car, and he didn't have a car down there. And it was like an hour and a half from Atlanta down to Columbus, Georgia. And so there was a transportation company called Grooms Transportation, and it was like a shuttle. And so it was like $25 for me to get this ticket from the airport on this shuttle down to meet up with him. And so I went down, and we got a hotel room, and on one of the exits that had a lot of stuff within walking distance. I remember there was like an Olive Garden, which was one of our favorite restaurants. You can judge, but I still love me some Olive Garden. And like a strip mall. So there was like stuff for us to do because we weren't old enough to rent a car. Uber was not a thing back then. There were taxis, and that really was our only mode of transportation. So I flew down, and we had this like just absolutely amazing weekend. It was so good. It was so good. I just remember laughing and eating and, long conversations of just life and where we wanted it to take us. And after airborne school, he was getting ready to go into what was called RIP at the time, Ranger Indoctrination Program. It's now called RASP. And RIP was hard. It was notoriously something that people could fail out of. And here was the thing: if he failed out of any pieces of his training, he would not continue as a ranger, right? So we spent that weekend, I think we spent time memorizing the Ranger Creed and some of the stuff that he needed to know before he went into it. And Jeremy was nervous. Jeremy was really nervous. He was not an academic confident person is what I want to say. I watched Jeremy during those first couple years really struggle with doubt and a lack of confidence. I think being the youngest of 4 boys, Jeremy just, he just never felt like he was good enough. And doing something big like going to RIP, I think, was really intimidating for him. You know, I thought the world of him. I knew that he was capable, but he wasn't sure. And here was the thing: was RIP, I think, was 4 weeks long, three or 4 weeks. I can't really remember. And at that point, he would get his assignment. He would know where he's going. Like, we would know what the future is going to look like. And keep in mind, this was also like the time that we would have gotten married if I had like stuck to that plan. But that weekend was just like so amazing. And when I had to leave Jeremy, a cab was coming to get him to take him where he needed to go to check in for RIP, and Groom's Transportation was picking me up from the hotel. When I had to leave Jeremy, I could not stop crying. Like, could not stop crying, which was hard for him, made him emotional. Like, just all the unknown, I think, was hitting both of us like a freight train. And I got in that Groom's Transportation. I cried the entire hour and a half back. I cried the entire plane ride home. And on that plane ride home, I kept picturing Jeremy wherever he was once he gets done with RIP, like doing this special operations stuff in a Ranger battalion. And I was learning at this point that due to the OPSEC of what he was doing, operational security, that like he would not be able to tell me when he was coming and going. And so the ability for me to like be there to welcome him home was going to be pretty impossible. And I could not picture coming home from fighting a war and not having family there to welcome you. For Ranger Battalion, there were no welcome home ceremonies. Like, they would come and go in the middle of the night, and it was very, I don't want to say anticlimactic, but it happened so often, and it was a secretive thing. And I don't know if it's still like that, but there were no cute welcome. Yeah, there were no ceremonies. There was nothing of that. They would just kind of come and go. And my heart literally hurt with the idea of Jeremy coming home and not having anybody there. I can't imagine. So many of those boys did that, right? Like, no wonder there's such a culture of like drinking and partying. I can imagine that they would come home from deployments and just have no idea. Like, the last thing they would want to do is sit in the barracks. And that was the other thing, was he would have to live in the barracks, which in concept is a good idea, but living with the people that you work with, I don't know why the military thinks that's such a good idea, but I digress. Anyways, so I decide on the plane ride home, we should get married. We should do this. I literally had this like epiphany that was like, the only thing keeping us from being together is fear and societal norms, right? Like the idea that I was 19 at the age, I was too young to get married, that we were going to be broke, super broke, and that this was just a bad idea and I should finish school first because that's what society and my parents wanted from me. But on that plane ride home, I realized that I was making a terrible decision, that I was making these decisions rooted in a place of fear compared to rooted in a place of trusting God's plan for me. So I cry and I cry and cry. And I get back to my dorm room, and Jeremy calls me, and I 100% just word vomit. And I am like, Jeremy, I am making a terrible mistake. I think that we should get married when you get done with RIP. I think that we should do this. I want to be with you. We will figure it out. Jeremy goes, oh, wow. Okay. I got to go check in. I was like, oh, okay. Sure. And he goes, and I just had to kind of let it go. I mean, I told him my thoughts, but there was also this part of me that was like, maybe he had decided that he didn't want to get married. Maybe he didn't want that responsibility so young. So the next 4 weeks, he focused on RIP. He did really well. No surprise to me there. He did great. And I was going to fly down for his RIP graduation, and he had been so weird. Like, very elusive and kind of odd, and just weird would be my word for it. And so I was going down for his RIP graduation again. His parents couldn't go, and so I was going, and I was convinced that Jeremy was either going to propose or break up with me, either one. So we go, we did not stay in as nice of a hotel this time. We were both feeling a little broke. And we stayed near the Columbus Mall. That's what I remember. We were near the mall. And I get there, we check in, it's good. He did not propose right away, which in my mind was kind of going to happen and didn't happen. And so then we walked to Applebee's for dinner. You're welcome, Walker Hayes. We walked to Applebee's and we eat at Applebee's and there's no proposal. And he is being so weird, like just super weird. And we get back from Applebee's and I decide that I should just get ready for bed. And so and distract him with going to bed. So I take everything off, like my jewelry and my makeup, and I wash my face and all of those things. And I put my ring, my promise ring from him. I didn't sleep with it. I put it like on the sink, and we get ready for bed. And I don't know. And then I got up, and I wanted to put the ring back on. I don't know why. And I go put it on. And I can't find it. It's gone. I can't find it. And so I'm like looking around and I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, if I lost his promise ring, there's no way he's ever going to give me an engagement ring. And I try to like hide this from him. He's in the room with me and I try to hide this from him. And I'm like looking through my makeup bag, I'm dumping stuff out and he's like, hey babe, are you all right? And I'm like, yeah, everything's fine. Everything's cool. And then finally I'm like, no, Jeremy, I can't find my promise ring. I swear I put it down right here and I don't see it. And Jeremy's like, what? And so I literally remember he like turned over the mattress. He's like ripping apart the sheets. Like, I mean, it was like, and I just sit down in the Crow's hotel chair and I start crying. And I'm like, I am so sorry I lost it. I'm so sorry. I'll buy myself another one that looks just like it. I promise you. And and Jeremy's just laughing. And finally he just kneels down in front of me and he's like, hey babe, how about you just have this ring instead? And pulls out an engagement ring. And I'm like, you fucking bastard. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry, excuse my language, but like, I was like, are you kidding me right now? And I was like, of course I'll take that one. And he gave me back the promise ring too. And that is how we got proposed, or that's how he proposed and how we got engaged. It just such a typical Jeremy engagement, like a little ornery, a little funny. The ring was beautiful. I will say this. So part of why he had been so weird was any chance he had, he was going to a jewelry store in the mall to try to like find the perfect ring. And it was really pretty. I still have the setting. This necklace that I wear, actually I like don't ever take this necklace off, is the stone from my engagement ring with Jeremy. I did that a number of years ago. I just loved it and the story behind it and all the things. And it's not a huge diamond. It's like, I think it's like 3/4 of a carat, maybe not even that. But I don't know. It was thoughtful and it was beautiful. And he picked it out because it reminded him of my description of my grandmother's antique ring. And it was just good. And then, so we get engaged, I call my parents, all these things, and then nobody's really happy, if I'm being honest. His parents, I think, were terrified because Jeremy was just going to be so broke. Like, he was a private first class and E3 in the military. He made very little money. I wasn't done with school yet. It was kind of this idea of like how are we going to survive financially? And then, my parents weren't happy because I hadn't finished school yet, right? They've invested 2 years of college in me at this point, and they wanted to see me finish. And I get home, and Jeremy calls me. We find out he gets stationed to 1st Battalion, 75th Ranger Regiment in Savannah, Georgia. And he calls me, and he says, he tells me, he's like, so we can either get married in 2 weeks, or we can get married after my first deployment. And I was like, looks like we're getting married in 2 weeks. And here's the thing, my friend Katie, that like they did like a simple justice of the peace thing and then did like a wedding when Will got back from a deployment. That literally never crossed my mind to do that. It just, nobody ever suggested that. It didn't cross my mind. So I like tell my parents, I'm like, we want to get married in 2 weeks, like April 30th. And actually, I think we were initially looking at April 29th, but that was a Saturday and we couldn't get a chapel. And my mom sat me down and she was like, hey, if you're pregnant, we will figure this out. I said, I'm not pregnant. I just want to be with him. And this is the way to make it happen. Anyways, it was like a whole ordeal. And so God bless my mom. She actually like buckled down and we spent an entire Saturday planning the wedding. And I think that's where I'm going to pick up next week, is talking about the wedding and moving down to Georgia, because I've rambled enough today of just like the craziness of it. And there's some good stories in that wedding planning that I don't want to skip over. So anyways, that's kind of like, that's your teaser. And I just want to say thank you again for like tuning into this and listening. This has made my heart happy this morning. Like talking about being exhausted and coming into this was a day where it was about commitment. I didn't really want to sit down and make time for this, but I'm glad I did. There's something I enjoy about it, going back and talking about all of this. And I will prioritize some rest this week and recuperation. So in the meantime, I hope that you all stay classy and choose love. See y'all next week.